Now, we all know Coach Bud as being a coach that didn't really, not really, but never did any adjustments. And Game
Mm.
7 was kind of a testament to that because Giannis still didn't play defense on KD, right? I think in that last possession, it was what, Chris Middleton or PJ Tucker, one of
Mhm.
the
I
two.
think it was Chris Middleton on that. Well, never mind. That wasn't the last possession, but
But
I think
the
it was Chris Middleton.
yeah, the fact of the matter is, it wasn't Giannis,
Mm.
which in and of itself is a crime that should be punishable by getting fired. But he was able
Damn.
to Mr. Magoo his way into the conference finals, even with his mistakes. But yeah, even still, the Bucks are one of the best defensive teams in the league, but they've struggled to shoot from three, shooting around 30% at times in the second round. Meanwhile, Trae Young, like you mentioned, G, he's coming into the series with a hot hand as he's been averaging 29 points in the playoffs so far, which is surprising because this is again his first playoff run. Now, the Bucks have a large size advantage because they can just throw, Drew Holiday, PJ Tucker, Giannis, Chris Middleton at Trae Young. Now, do you think okay, because the Bucks have the edge on defense and experience while the Hawks have better guard play and offense, who do you guys think will win this series? Because for me, this is a crapshoot, but I'm saying the Bucks. I'm not a jinx because my predictions don't really matter. So the Bucks, I think, will win in six because Trey Young, and after that, who else? Kevin Herter, Bogdanovich is still kind of iffy with the knee injury. John Collins. There's just not enough weapons for the Hawks to outscore the Bucks. But go ahead.
The Bucks got incredibly lucky that last round. The Bucks should have they should have lost. Mike Budenholzer continues to not make adjustments, but I think the Bucks are going to win in 5 games here. The Bucks have every advantage. Philadelphia had over the Hawks the last series, but except this time, the Hawks are going to go up against Giannis Antetokounmpo, who in my opinion is a top 3 player in the game, and they're going to go up against better perimeter players in Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, who can actually shoot the ball better, unlike Ben Simmons last round. The Bucks are like Philadelphia; they're simply bigger than them. The Bucks were one of the best defensive teams all season long, and this team is going to be far more physical. The Hawks are a tiny ass team. Trae Young has been a phenomenal player this postseason, and in my opinion, he has justified why he is one of my favorite young players to watch in this league. Trae Young is a future top 3 point guard, but I think the Hawks and him have met their match this time. I think their inexperience is finally going to bite them in the ass. So yes, I think the Bucks, they're going to survive this round again. They're going to win this series in 5. But mark my words, a Western Conference team is going to win the NBA Finals. Mike Budenholzer's continued reluctance to make adjustments and the Bucks' overall lack of offensive firepower is gonna bite them in the ass eventually. It's gonna end them.
Interesting.
So I'm gonna disagree with you guys here, and I am a Giannis fan, but I have the Hawks in 7. We got
Ooh.
to stop underestimating.
Mm.
You underestimate. Yeah, you has your piece. My turn. You underestimated them first round. You underestimated them second round, and now you're doing it the exact same team right now by saying that they're going to just get taken out in 5 games. Stop underestimating them because what the Suns have on the West is not the same, but it's itching towards that. That it factor on the Eastern Conference has to come out of this Atlanta Hawks squad. It's not just Trae Young. It's John Collins understanding that I can't score 15 this game, but I can for sure hustle. I can for sure get in Embiid's face and make him kind of irritable. I can get a rebound. It's players stepping up each and every game. I understand Bogdanovich hasn't been consistent, but we have Gallo. We have Gallo stepping up one game. We have Lou Williams stepping up the other game. We have Red Velvet, Kevin Herter stepping up this last game. Every game, somebody steps up, and this is what you want to see out of the playoffs. This is the time that you get those contracts. We saw it with KCP last year. He got that big contract just from how he performed in the playoffs. This is what's happening with the Atlanta Hawks. So sit here and say that the Bucks are too big. You know that the Hawks can exploit that because if Brook Lopez can't slide his feet and get past Trae Young's floater or lobbing it up to Clint Capella, he's going to have his ass on the bench, and then Budenholzer is going to be forced to have to put Giannis at the 5. But we know Budenholzer isn't a good coach like that to do that adjustment. So Giannis will not be playing the 5. So with that being said, all of the negative downfalls that we put on the Bucks, and we're sitting here saying like they're just gonna miraculously turn it around. They didn't turn around in Game 7 with Kevin Durant's foot on their throat. They were lucky, and they're gonna have to be super lucky to be able to beat this Hawks team because they have. We talk about them not having experience. They've been through two tough rounds, the New York Knicks and the 76ers. You talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo being a top 3 player. I agree with you, Daniel. But Joel Embiid is arguably the best center in the NBA, and he had 30 points damn near every game. Second best, whatever, him and Jokic. He's arguably the best center in the NBA. Somebody's going to argue it. Not me right now because MVP is Jokic. But for our listeners, they have Joel Embiid. Anyways, to further my argument here, there's great players that Trae Young has went through. He has his killer mentality regardless. Even if he's struggling, there's players on the Atlanta Hawks team that's going to step up. This is going to be another great series because of the lack that the Bucks have and because of what the lack that they have is what the Hawks are going to take advantage of and vice versa. So I feel like this is going to be another Game 7 series because the Bucks are going to get lucky and they're going to be unlucky. And the same thing is going to go for the Hawks. The Bucks aren't going to be complete for a 5-game sweep like what they did with the Heat. Or did they sweep the Heat?
They swept the Heat.
They're not going to be lucky like when they swept the Heat.
Just to piggyback off that point then. So when you compare the two teams, the Hawks and the Bucks, who do you think had the more difficult road, all things considered, to get to the conference finals? I say the Bucks.
Hawks.
The Hawks. Most definitely.
The Hawks because they played against healthy squads. The Bucks played against James Harden with a messed up hamstring. They played against Kevin Durant and fucking Jeff Green. And you telling me, come on, bro. The Hawks played against a fully healthy New York Knicks team that has arguably the top 5 defenses in the league. Then they go up against the 76ers, healthy Joel Embiid. So they had the toughest route.
I mean, they weren't fully healthy because Joel Embiid had that knee injury. He had I think it was right knee meniscus.
Okay, let's compare that to the Nets. He had that knee injury, but was he not still scoring 30 points and putting hella pressure on them? Compared to James Harden, first game back had under 10 points?
Only 5 points.
It's not the same. It's not the same. And the 76ers have a more complete team than the Nets.
Fair enough. I still posit that it's the Bucks because they had to go through 2 championship level squads to get to the conference finals, if you get what I mean, right?
Who's the second one?
The Heat. They went to the finals last year. Championship level squads.
Not this year. Not this year.
The Heat were dejected coming into the playoffs.
Yeah, but this year. In terms of how their championship DNA, right? Because everyone talks about that championship DNA, so that has to account for something.